What is the benefit of starting a podcast and doing these interviews when you will surely be going to prison next week?
Oh, I'm going to prison next week?
Or the following weeks?
I'm going to prison in the following 2 weeks.
Hopefully you'll be in jail in the next year.
Absolute terms, right? You said surely you will be going to prison.
Yeah, like 99.9 plus,
surely.
plus 0.1%.
That means 100.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
I have nothing to answer to you if you're so sure.
Are you a betting gay?
Well,
I don't want to call you a betting man. I feel like that would be insulting to us, man.
Why?
All right, so disgraced New York congressman and convicted felon George Santos was just on Matan Evans' podcast, and Matan had him on just in time because right after this podcast, he was sentenced to 7 years in prison for wire fraud and identity theft. So George spent one of his last few days as a free man getting trolled and mocked by a 17-year-old for being a liar who's going to jail. So this was a great guest from Matan, and I can't believe George agreed to do this. I don't know what he thought would happen here. Like, he said he's watched the show before, so I don't know how he expected this to go. I mean, he must just be desperate for any kind of attention, and he's completely delusional, so there is a chance he might have thought that somehow this would go well for him. I mean, he also thought somehow he could basically lie about his whole life and never get caught, so he doesn't really seem to think through this stuff very much, because some of the stuff he lied about, people were guaranteed to figure out eventually. I mean, it's kind of crazy he made it as far as he did, but it obviously was going to come crashing down at some point. I mean, he lied about what colleges he went to and where he worked, which is pretty easy to prove. And he also claimed to be a volleyball star in college, which is just hilarious. So then once people found out he's lying about that, obviously they looked into him more, and almost everything he says is a lie. And some of my favorites are he claimed to be Jewish and would always talk about how proud he is of his Jewish heritage. But then he got exposed. So after he claimed he never actually said he was Jewish, he said he was Jew-ish. He also claimed his grandma died in the Holocaust, and his mom died in 9/11, and his niece was kidnapped by the Chinese government. So he's a pathological liar that will just lie about anything. I mean, he also claimed to have been on Hannah Montana and The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and he was in a movie apparently with Uma Thurman, which didn't even exist, and some other stuff. I don't know why you'd even want to make this up. You know, he took credit for producing the Spider-Man play on Broadway. That was a complete disaster. It was a huge flop, and one of the actors got seriously injured in it. And George claimed to have met Jeffrey Epstein, too. So he's just a lunatic. I mean, he also allegedly spent campaign funds on Botox and OnlyFans subscriptions. And he was accused of stealing money from a GoFundMe he set up for a homeless veteran whose dog needed surgery to have a tumor removed. Apparently they raised $3,000, but the veteran never got the money, and his dog unfortunately died. So George is just out of control, but thankfully he's still delusional, and he thought going on this podcast would help him because this ended up being a great episode. And then afterwards, Matan went on his podcast, and it got even crazier.
Give me my glasses.
I wanted to steal it, like you stole the money from that guy with the dog.
I stole no money from a person with a dog. Put my glasses back.
You killed his dog.
I did not steal money.
I will put your glasses back because I don't know what will be the consequences of physically stealing from a former politician who's going to jail.
Okay.
But
All right,
you
go.
killed that guy's dog, and you know it.
Yeah, I did, sure.
Do you want to respond to that?
No, I refuse to. Very, very repetitive. No new material.
Well, no, I want to.
Something more creative.
I think I think you're overestimating how well known you might be to my audience.
I saw your
So I want to go over your legendary moments. You know, when people say you're supposed to lie as a politician, they don't mean lying about every arbitrary aspect of your life. Should they teach about you in school as an example of how not to act?
That's incumbent upon you. Like, what?
Considering everything you've done and your upcoming time in jail, wouldn't it save everybody time and money?
I have never been to jail.
Upcoming time in jail.
Okay.
Wouldn't it save everybody time and money for the government to blow your head off?
I mean, sure. Go ahead, do it. Do you want to volunteer?
I don't know, because I know you're like a politician, so I don't know where. Assuming you ever get out of jail, should people spit in your face when they see you in public?
Is that a serious question?
Yeah. Should it be a duty of the people? Hey, that's Santos.
Are you implying violence?
I'm asking you if you get permission. Then
Are you pro-violence?
Do they call you long neck because your neck is so long? Wait, that's for the next guest, long neck. Get the hell out of here, you stupid liar.
Take care, Matan.
So that's pretty much how it went and how George should have expected it to go. But for some reason, he was surprised and he kept saying, I can't believe I'm doing this podcast. And I'm sure Matan couldn't believe it either. I think he said that George reached out to him too. But I think George is just desperate for views. And they probably made a deal where if George goes on Matan's podcast, then Matan will go on his. Because obviously pretty much nobody watches his podcast. So he's doing whatever he can. And Matan's appearance is already his second most viewed episode. And his third most viewed, it looks like they paid for engagement on it, which Matan called George out on because at the time of them recording this podcast, this episode had 10,000 views, 5,000 likes, and only 2 comments, which is basically impossible. There's no way every other person liked the video, and then only 2 of them commented.
You recently started a podcast that's doing so bad, you or someone on your team started buying likes on it. Did you know that it'll only hurt the videos more?
I'm not aware. I don't buy likes.
I said I didn't want to build you specifically, so you or someone on your team.
Nobody, from my understanding, is buying likes on the podcast.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
One of the videos I saw that 10,000 views, 5,000 likes, 2 comments. One of them was you, and then...
Me?
Or maybe it was a guy pretending to be you, and then one guy said, why isn't he in jail? That doesn't make sense for 5,000 likes. He's a bad liar.
Okay.
You're buying likes. You're down the drain. Are you the one doing it? You're buying likes on it?
He's accusing us of buying likes.
No, I'm just asking. But I have a feeling it's true.
It's not.
Okay, why didn't any of them comment?
I don't know.
I think he's trying to give us business advice, but it's ill
Well, buying
advice.
likes on a
He has
podcast will only hurt it because the viewers going there, it's hurting the
Well,
retention.
anybody
So,
in this
Matan,
office...
What
let
he's
me-
doing
let me-
is hurting himself.
Matan.
No,
basically.
anybody in this office can confirm. Nobody buys
Nobody in
likes.
this office has bought
So
likes
somebody's
or
doing
views.
it then.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, do you have that app downloaded?
He doesn't... This
I
is
owe
a
you
production
nothing.
company. He doesn't
He
do
doesn't
any of
own
that.
his channel?
He does, but this is a production
This is
company.
a production
He doesn't
company.
have to do that.
I
Like,
don't
look
have
around.
to do... Like,
This is a
we have
studio.
full
That's
staff.
real.
And somebody had to be buying engagement, and George, I mean, he's a liar and he's desperate, so he's probably doing it. Like, also, it's crazy they have a full staff in a legit studio for a podcast that averages less than 1,000 views, and now the host of it is going to prison. I mean, it's crazy George could find anybody to work with him. Like, I don't know what these people are thinking. Who would trust this guy to pay them? And I doubt this podcast was making any money. And George, he was obviously going to jail, so this was like the biggest waste of time. But I guess they went out with a bang. Like, this episode was wild. Right in the beginning, his co-host almost gets in a fight with Matan and Mike.
So let me tell y'all the ground rules with me. How are you? I don't like being touched. We can play the game. You can do the accents,
Okay,
all
good.
of that good stuff. That's my only boundary.
That's fine. I don't
All right, and we
Okay.
need you out of the frame. This is our show, not
He's
yours.
still in the frame?
No, he's out of the show
No,
altogether.
I don't want him to be in the frame.
I understand. Get him out.
Coffee?
Have a seat.
Yeah, you can stand over here if you want to.
Thank you very much. So the people out there
Can he come sit
that,
here?
No.
Come sit here, Mike.
No,
So the people
absolutely
out
not.
there that don't
come
know
take a
you,
Are you...
if you
can
come over
can
here,
you-
I'm gonna, you know what?
You said no touching.
I can touch. You can't
You know,
touch
I'm going to
me.
get physical
Please
too.
get up.
Do you think I'm scared of you, little boy?
No, but I think I'm not scared of you either.
Stand up.
I'll fight a woman.
Get up. Get up. Get up.
I will fight
Ask
a
your friend to
woman.
get up now.
No,
Because
he's
I don't
not
want to
leaving.
take him because I can. Let's go. Let's go ahead and
Oh.
get up.
Are you air punching a woman?
I would like to punch her for real in the face.
Well, you're his buddy. I think
Don't
it's a
adjust
cool
the frame
shit.
to include like.
Well, you know,
Get out of
if
the
if Buddy's gonna sit
Won't
here,
get
what's
back to
Buddy's
where you
name?
No, he's gonna get out of the frame.
Yeah, so get out of the frame.
You told me you had one rule though. You said no physical, but
I
then
said you don't touch me.
You don't touch
But
her.
you think you can
Right.
touch me?
Yeah.
I'll throw a leg kick in your face.
Oh.
Stood up to my body here. I mean, what do you think?
So you're defending your guy that he was in the wrong.
By the way,
Your
I don't
friend
mean this
was
with
in
any
the
offense.
wrong.
I don't even know if you are a former man. So, I mean,
What?
to be completely
Did you
honest
just
with you,
did he say?
did you just say she's a man?
she might be. I don't know. I didn't ask yet, and she looks a little like it.
So he did that before with another comic that was on his god awful
course.
podcast
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I watched. So he
He
has
just
this
went
thing
on
where
it.
he accuses women
Probably
of being
worst
trans.
mistake of my life.
That's the worst one.
Yeah.
Have you ever done anything that's not a mistake?
Yeah, but your podcast was a mistake.
That's a big compliment to me. That's what I was aiming for. I couldn't
good.
believe you were gonna do it.
No, I couldn't believe I did it.
I'm happy you
I
don't
hit my
like
head
it.
in the nightstand when I said yes to go on it. But I did tell you.
You
it was
guys reached out to me, by the way.
biggest lie I ever said was I was ecstatic to go on your podcast.
You already made that joke.
Yeah, no. I'm making it now.
Get out of the frame.
And it seems like George's co-host thought she'd be more prepared for this. Like, she thought she could handle the trolling. And she did handle it better than David Lucas. I'll give her credit for that. But the trans thing, that got to her, and she tries to get serious about it and tell him it's rude, which obviously just makes things so much worse.
Not by
Inferring that
mine.
a person is trans and you don't know if they are or not, do you think that's
So how do you
rude?
approach that subject? By going, are
Do you think if like, by inferring something about a person, do you
How
think
can I
that's
ask
rude?
you? Are you a dude?
That's not something that I think you should know. You should need to know. That's not an
Just
important
ask
thing.
because of your facial structure.
That's not something that's important for you to know, though.
It is important.
But do you
We're doing
think
an
that is
interview.
rude?
I just
by
met you today.
inferring, If
Let
we
me-
just
let
met
me-
today.
If I
Nasha,
got the
Nasha,
pronouns
do you
wrong,
know
you
my
might
name?
go crazy.
Do you know my name? Right.
Jamal.
So before you asked anything, you asked about. You started insulting my face, I guess. So I'm
No, I
trying to look
didn't.
like a woman
I didn't
right
call
now.
you ugly.
I'm trying to appear like a woman.
I didn't
so
insult
let's treat
you.
me as if I'm a girl.
I would not
right?
insult you. That would be rude.
So let me tell you this. I took that as an insult. You literally said already you've crossed so many boundaries. Why do you do that?
You told me you only
you
had
have a
one.
girlfriend?
You told me you only had one.
He's never been touched by a girl, and he never will.
Are
be.
you gay?
Oh.
Are you?
You told me you only had one boundary.
Are you gay?
You told me you only had one.
All right,
Are you
Matan.
racist?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Matan, let me ask
yeah.
you a question.
What time is this over? What time are we done with this one?
Dude, I don't know. It's been over for like the first 20 minutes for me.
I think it was over before we started.
Yeah, this dude's fucking
I actually
insane.
am more interested in
You
this
know,
one.
You know what it is? Oh, no, he has psychological issues. He has deep-rooted trauma, this kid.
So by the end of this, they both just hate Matan, which is obviously what he was going for. And it's funny, the whole time George, he keeps trying to lecture him about how his career is going to fail. Like, he says Matan's shtick is going to get old and he needs to start acting normal. You know, it's ridiculous. George Santos is trying to tell somebody they need to be more authentic. I mean, this is just the best to hear him act like he should be giving people advice right now. I mean, this is just comedy gold. Like, he also pretends to be a tough guy and tries to intimidate Matan. And it's just so pathetic. He's like, I know a lot of powerful people. I'm the last person you want to mess with. And he's just trying to do whatever he can to try to get Matan to break, but obviously it doesn't work, so he just gets pissed off about it.
You draw attention because you're making
So do
an
you,
ass out
that's
of
true.
yourself. Yeah. So I know a thing
Are
or two
you-
about making an ass out of myself to draw attention. You're becoming
but-
a mini expert.
But I'm not
But
actually.
you're bad at it.
I don't think people think of me as a crazy liar.
You're
pathetic-
bad.
pathetic guy.
You're pathetic.
Where's the next place you're going to go in
You're
your career?
pathetic.
This is very ironic.
No, I will die a congressman. You have a pathetic accent. You have a pathetic
That's true,
shtick.
but you will also die the congressman, the worst one ever.
That's
got
not
expelled.
true. Not
You were
even on
expelled from Congress.
remotely. I will say this to you. Do you know what? As a former politician, I do know. I know a lot of people in a lot of places, and I'm probably the last person you really want to piss off.
Did I make you angry?
No, I'm just reminding you that.
I'm trying to be cool, calm, and collected. I even apologized about my little outburst there.
Yeah, and lastly, I think as an adult, I'm going to give you some advice. Obviously, your shtick is your shtick. You do what you think is good for you. I think that you're going to fizzle out and burn because it's exhausting. People are not going to want to work with you, and you're going to slowly see that your shtick is going to cost you. Going to ice yourself out of this entire industry.
I don't think I'm playing a
You
character.
have
I
had
disagree.
such an opportunity to do something big. Do the character when the camera's rolling. When it goes off, act like a fucking human being.
What did I do when I saw you?
You look mental. You
I asked-
behave mental.
No, I don't.
You guys have this like insanely bad energy about you.
Good
when you
energy.
enter. It's awful.
We would like to
energy.
steal stuff, but we don't.
It's awful energy. Thanks for coming on. This was great, and we look forward to seeing.
Will you give me a
how-
fist bump?
You have spit on your hand, spittle on your hand.
Dude, you just
licked
you
ice.
just gotta go.
You licked
Like,
ice.
it's
You
like-
guys don't like me?
Bye, Matan.
That's very disappointing. Well, I guess thanks for having
do
me
you think
on.
you were likable?
I wasn't trying to be with you guys, no.
Okay.
So I think I got my
So then you have
the
your
right
answer.
impression.
That was
here.
great. You did a great.
I did a good job.
You were a great jackass.
Yes.
Good job.
That's well. I wasn't trying to be a jackass
Clap
to
for
the
him.
audience.
No,
I
clap for him.
can't.
Just to you guys.
Yeah.
And after Matan leaves, George's co-host acts like George got to him and broke him. It's crazy. And then she rants about how people use Matan for likes and views. Like, that's not what they're trying to do. I mean, Matan said that George reached out to him, and they know what his show's like. They know what he's like. So I don't know what they were expecting.
What a waste. Jackass.
You broke him.
I broke him?
You broke that kid. You did.
That kid was just. Did we get anything?
You broke him.
Was that even an
because
interview?
It was not an interview.
Like, what was that?
I don't fucking know.
In my entire life, and look,
You comedians, you famous folks out there that go on this young man, this kid's show, you're using him for likes and views. You yourself don't see the longevity, and you're not teaching him anything. And I know I'm getting too serious right now. I'm going off on a tangent, but you did just try.
what a colossal zoo this was. The entire team, like if you look around the studio, folks, if you were here, the studio is like dead silent. The entire production crew is just like, dude, it looks like somebody died. We have a pretty diverse group here. We have Zers in our team here. And
Who is
they're
the young?
all-
Like, what's the youngest?
No, what I'm
age
saying here,
here?
in our office right now, we have Gen Zers, and they didn't get it. They're just like confused. Like, what did we just watch?
And I'm sure they think that after every episode of this podcast. And it's ironic they're talking about the longevity and what Matan does, because this was probably their last episode of the show now that George is going to prison. So this was just perfect timing. But let me know what you guys think about it. And if you want more videos like this, if you want to hear about some more insanely cringy podcasts, make sure you check out my Patreon. I cover a lot over there. There's a ton of exclusive content. So if you're a fan, make sure you check it out. It's definitely worth it. I'll put a link in the description.